This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Just watch, unlock, can't block, go through. My squad, on top, non-stop, told you. Make it look easy, effortless. Even in the trench, I never stress. Coming out like the best, no sweat. Get ready for it, ready or not. Here it comes now, coming in hot. Unlock, unlock, unlock. Get ready for it, ready or not. Here it comes now, coming in hot. Unlock, unlock, unlock. Cook up, explode, way go, take off. Tick tock, two blow, how far? Way up, make it look easy.
Program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yeah, it's something, all right. Yeah, we don't know what the hell we call it. There you go. Anyways, how are you? How are things? No, seriously, how are things? You know, how is it? How are things going? How are things coming out in regards of, coming out of that Monday? It's a serious question. Anyways, let's talk about it. Today's Tuesday, October the 3rd. Isn't tomorrow like some big day with your phone supposed to go off? Well, we'll talk about that. Today is October the 3rd of 2023, day 276 of the year, and only 89 days left to go. I mean, if you think about it, think about how short this is. I mean, it's going to be over. Dunzo. Yeah, dunzo. It's all done. Finito. End of 2023. Where has the good times gone? Yeah, seriously. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place we do stuff at.
Radio.
Yeah, that's the place. That's definitely the place we do stuff at. So let's talk. Let's talk about it. If you are new here, let's talk. If you are old here, thank you for coming back. But if you are new here, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. What we do on this show is we talk about safety in the news and safety. Yes, that's what we do. We talk about that stuff. We have a line that we open up that's called Call In Radio. You go to a website. It's called callinradio.com. What that ends up taking place is the following information. You go there, you can text or send a message, however you want to look at it. Send an audio message or send a video message. You get to interact with the show, and that's what ends up taking place. Sometimes we'll do even a live one, just depending on what the format says that it actually is. And then we kind of go from there. Then I come back. We have some professional broadcasters that come in, will tell us everything that's going on inside of the world of the news. Yes, because that's what they do on their end. And then we come back, do some main story, and move on. And, we kind of keep it in a rated R format. And that kind of sums up what we do. Some people will ask the question that goes like this. I thought you were a safety show. Well, yeah, we are a safety show. And here's the way that it works. We talk about context of safety, but we also talk about new stuff because, listen, there's nothing more boring than going into a safety meeting where somebody doesn't know what the hell's going on with the world and all they know is about disclosure 57.427. It's not going to really tell you much of anything. It might give you tidbit information, but that's about it. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we start talking right away about what the hell was trending in the overnight? Because, hey, you know, some people were excited about that stuff.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so when we look at the trends of the ends and the stuff we'll be talking about today during our 3-hour version of the show. And when I say 3 hour, don't worry, Rated R is just 1 hour. The last 2 hours is us talking about stuff that's going on inside of the world of music and entertainment, so don't worry about that. First hour is just here for video and podcasting just for you. And as we do the radio show as well. So here we go. The syrupy sweet American Southern draw could be dying out. And Sam Bankman-Fried gears up for a trial. We'll talk about that as we get into the shit list. Pete Davidson has another fender bender. And Drake gives big bucks to a heartbroken fan. Tom Hanks talks AI. And Ellen DeGeneres has ghosted a famous gal pal. We'll talk about that. What else? Yeah, that's going to be about the bulk of it, and then we'll talk about all of our fun stuff that we get to discuss inside of the world of safety in the news. It's fantastic on how we get to do this, so there you go. With that being said, I have to tell you, I do have some Mark Mayfield waiting in the wings. He's wanting you to talk to him, for he can talk to you, and all I have to do is do the hand gesture sign, and we go. So if you're ready, start talking about the new stuff. I'm ready to start talking about the new stuff, and that will get this whole thing rolling between you and I in regards of what's going on, because I want to share with you what's happening today in real time. So let's do that. Let's talk about the news right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. Hunter Biden will appear in federal court today in Delaware, where he's expected to plead not guilty to gun charges. Lisa Taylor fills us in.
The president's son was indicted on 3 felony firearms charges last month, including unlawfully possessing a gun as an illegal drug user. Charges come after a prior plea deal to see the gun offenses dismissed fell apart following scrutiny from a federal judge. Hunter's attorneys have called the charges illegitimate. I'm Lisa Taylor.
Dianne Feinstein's replacement will be sworn into the U.S. Senate today. LaFonza Butler was appointed by California Governor Gavin Newsom on Sunday to take the place of the late senator and will be sworn in by Vice President Kamala Harris in a ceremony at the U.S. Capitol. Butler will be only the third black woman to serve in the Senate, following Harris and former Senator Carolyn Moseley Brown of Illinois. In a statement, Governor Newsom said LaFonza will carry the baton left by Senator Feinstein and continue to break glass ceilings. A 9-year-old girl missing in a New York park has been found alive and her kidnapper captured after an intense search. Trey Thomas reports.
Governor Kathy Hochul confirmed Monday that Charlotte Sena was kidnapped and that her suspected abductor is in custody.
It's been a long 2 days, but tonight our prayers have been answered. We're overcome with relief and gratitude.
She noted that Sena appeared to be in good physical shape as she was rescued Monday evening. Hochul said the suspect left a note at Charlotte's parents' house demanding a ransom. Fingerprint analysis led to the man's mother's home, where a SWAT team found Charlotte in a cabinet inside a camper. I'm Trey Thomas.
And Mariah Carey is going on a Christmas tour. The pop star said on Monday that her Merry Christmas One and All tour will visit 13 cities. The holiday tour kicks off November the 15th in Highland, California, and makes stops in Los Angeles, Detroit, Boston, and New York City. Tickets for the Christmas tour go on sale Friday. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. US House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is facing an attempt from within the Republican Party to oust him. The US President's son, Hunter Biden, is due in court on Tuesday in Delaware on charges related to gun possession. Shares have soared in indebted Chinese property developer Evergrande after trading restarted in Hong Kong, and more than 30 people have died in the last 2 days at one hospital in the Indian state of Maharashtra.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz is aiming to remove House Speaker Kevin McCarthy from his post. He filed a motion Monday to force a vote to overthrow McCarthy.
It's Kevin McCarthy who's out there offering deals to Democrats. So if there's a deal made with Democrats, the only deal is to make one with McCarthy, because I'm not offering anything and won't offer anything. And by the way, if the Democrats want to own Kevin McCarthy, they can have it.
Speaking to reporters outside the Capitol, the Florida Republican mentioned House Majority Leader Steve Scalise as a potential replacement. The move comes after McCarthy worked with the Democrats to pass a short-term funding bill to keep the government open. Gates has questioned whether McCarthy cut a secret deal with Democrats on funding for Ukraine. A House vote to keep McCarthy on as Speaker could come this week. The Supreme Court will hear arguments today on the constitutionality of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. The CFPB was formed after the Great Recession to investigate consumer complaints against financial institutions. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren told Politico on Monday that the CFPB has returned $17 billion directly to Americans cheated by financial institutions. Many Republicans oppose the Bureau because it's funded through the Federal Reserve and not through Congress, and argue that its funding scheme allows it to escape accountability. The ongoing United Auto Workers strike has cost the U.S. economy nearly $4 billion. Brian Shook reports.
That's according to a study from the Anderson Economic Group, a Michigan-based research firm. It cites lost wages for workers and more than $1 billion in manufacturing declines at GM, Ford, and Stellantis. The report also accounts for additional costs to suppliers, dealers, and consumers. Thousands of workers are striking against the big three U.S. automakers, demanding better pay and added benefits. I'm Brian Shook.
And TikTok could soon release an ad-free version of the app. Users would pay $4.99 a month for the version, although that's subject to change. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to a renowned safety expert, Dr. Jay Allen, on Safety FM. Changing safety cultures, one broadcast and one podcast at a time. Join the fun on social media and find us on Facebook at Safety FM.
Well, you know that here at Safety FM and Radio Big, we're always trying to look for life hacks. So with the busy season just around the corner, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for your jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kits, can help you fuel up with fast chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, and ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Refresh your healthy habits without missing a beat. Choose from 34 weekly flavored packs. Dietitian-approved meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. All you need to do is head over to factorsmeals.com/safetyfm50 and use code safetyfm50 to get 50% off. That's code safetyfm50 at factormeals.com/safetyfm50 to get 50% off. Go there. Do it now.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Yep, there you go. 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Tuesday. Yep, Tuesday it is. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the shit list real quick because we need to talk about the things that are going on inside of the multiverse. FTX files St. Bankman-Fried trial begins today to determine whether he was guilty. Yeah, whether he was guilty or not of 7 criminal counts, including wire and securities fraud. The prosecutors have struck a deal with a handful of insiders who were close to SBF and expected to testify against him. Worth noting, the prosecutors will have to prove that SBF knew that he was in the wrong when he authorized the use of the funds to customers' accounts to pay for his company's bills. His defense is expected to hinge on SBF's belief that he wasn't doing anything wrong and took bad advice from attorneys. Mark your calendars because jury selection begins today and that the trial is expected to wrap up well before Thanksgiving. So we'll have to take a look at that and see exactly what happens. So listen, I don't know how you feel about this. I don't know how involved you were inside of the crypto world there when all this stuff was going on. So I don't want to sit here and be like a Debbie Downer and be like, oh yes, we should talk about this. You should be doing this, blah, 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 because that's not my gig. My gig here is for us to talk about the things that are going on. So it's going to be an interesting few days. That is for sure, as he goes through the process of everything that is happening. There is no doubt about that. Anyways, a study out of University of Georgia shows that residents of that state are losing their iconic Southern drawl. The linguistic professor overseeing the research analyzed voice samples recorded by people born between 1887 and 2003, and she found that starting with Gen Xers, the accent started to fade away. What boomers call draws, younger folks pronounce dress. Likewise, fraz turned into prize. So locals interviewed by the Wall Street Journals about the accent noted that the accent is still pretty thick in rural areas of the state, but less pronounced in the cities. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. Think about that. You have an assignment where you have to figure out sudden draw stuff. Boy, does that sound like an interesting one.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, a group of fishermen in Tennessee reeled in a homemade bomb after casting the lines into a pond over the weekend. The deputy dispatched to the scene determined that the basic explosive included a fuse stuck into a bundle of bombing fluid there, a substance commonly known as a long-range target that creates small explosions when a bullet hits it. As any of the Southern boys dreams of doing, the deputy shot and the bomb 3 times to try to get it to explode with no luck. He reckoned that it was too waterlogged to actually go off. So there you go. I wonder, at what point do you start considering what kind of stable condition is this thing in that it's okay for me to shoot it? I'm just asking the question. It's kind of a weird one if you think about it. Anyways, a Florida man is begging a burglar to return valuables stolen from her apartment, including a French bulldog. The victim tells the local media that the pooch isn't even a year old and relies on medication. She believes that the thief seized her home and determined that when she's be out, leaving plenty of time to ransack the joint. The unnamed woman says that it doesn't care about the money, but wants the dog returned. Worth noting, French bulldogs can go north of $10,000. Yeah, I did say 10 grand there, just in case you were wondering. Yeah, 10 grand. Okay, take a listen to this one. At 104 years of age, Dorothy Hoffner is now the oldest parachutist in the world. The Chicago native reached the milestone on Sunday as she completed a tandem jump in Iowa, Illinois. When asked how she felt about to be back on the ground, Hunter said wonderful, but it was wonderful up there too. The whole thing was delightful, wonderful. Before Hoffner, the world's oldest parachutist was Rut-Linnea Inward from Sweden, who earned the title on May of 2022 when she was 103. This is according to the Chicago Tribune. So there you go. There you go. So there you go. I don't know. Some things to think about for sure. So I guess if you're living to that age, it might be time to consider being a jumper. Hey, I'm just saying, it looks like it's a big deal. I mean, if people are tracking it and stuff, I mean, I don't know. Is that something you'd be interested in? I don't know. We're just talking. We're talking. That's what we do around here. Talk and talk. I have to tell you, the segment of the sports and news that we get, we talk about all kinds of stuff. We tell people around here, let's not talk about sports. We just want to talk about news. And man, because Taylor Swift is in the news, or in the sports news, can't get people to stop writing about this stuff. It's kind of interesting to me. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we do something else and talk about some money matters? Because matters of money matter. No, seriously, they really do matter. Take a listen.
It's day of the $250 million civil fraud lawsuit New York Attorney General Letitia James has brought against former President Donald Trump. Natalie Migliori reports.
Attorney General Letitia James spoke outside Manhattan Civil Court before the trial got underway.
No matter how powerful you are, no matter how much money you think you may have, no one is above the law. And it is my responsibility and my duty and my job to enforce it.
Former President Trump showed up for day one, even though he didn't have to, not want to pass up an opportunity to attack James.
We have a racist attorney general who's a horror show who ran on the basis that she was going to get Trump before she even knew anything about me.
The no-jury trial is set to last about 3 months. I'm Natalie Migliori, NBC News Radio, New York.
Nearly 60% of adults say their wallets have been impacted by extreme weather over the past decade. Silvana Anau has more.
This includes hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, earthquakes, and flooding and heavy snow. A new report from Bankrate finds higher energy costs are the most common expense, followed by spoiled food due to a power outage and home and property damage. About 3/4 of people say they experienced higher than usual electric bills this summer, with more than half saying these bills strained their finances.
2 more auto facilities are now on strike as the United Auto Workers expanded its work stoppage to 7,000 more workers Friday. Ford's Chicago assembly plant and General Motors' Lansing Delta Township plant were added to bring around 25,000 workers, about 17% of their members, to the strike. UAW President Shawn Fain said Friday that contract talks are ongoing and have not broken down. He says meaningful progress, however, has not been made in the talks with Ford and GM. With consumer and business news, Aaron Real, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Aaron, for the information on what is going on inside of the world. Let's talk real quick about the numbers. The Dow lost about 74 points to close at 33,433 on Monday. The S&P was flat, and the NASDAQ locked in about 88 points. There you go, to close in at 13,307. West Texas Intermediate closed at $88 a barrel, and Brent crude was up to $90 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.81 on Monday. Bitcoin was trading just around $27,800. There was more than 2,400 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Monday, with about 55 cancellations. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $300 million jackpot or $137 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, I guess it is time to do so. What do you think? What do you think? I don't know if you're big on playing the game or not. So I want to talk about this because I talked about it at the very top of the show. I normally would leave this for hour number 2, but let's talk about it now. Tom Hanks wants his followers to be aware that the AI version of him being used for promotional videos for a dental plan. I have nothing to do with that. Hanks wrote on a photo of his likeness from a clip. While by the way, the use of his face, for instance, Hanks says that can be used because of perpetuity, but was discussed that it was a positive side of AI before, noting that he could get hit by a bus tomorrow, but an AI could do his performance and can go on and on and on and on and on and on. So speaking of artificial intelligence, the topic along with streaming residuals and minimum rate hikes are among the key issues on the table for SAG after engaged bargaining talks with the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers AMPTP on Monday. While the writers were able to come to some agreement last week, SAG strike continues. So I don't know what's going to happen. It's an interesting thing. If you go out there, it's just Amazon. The amount of things that are out there that are, we'll say, quote unquote, copy-oppies that are not the real thing. And, as much as we would want to say it's even better than the real thing, it's going to be hard to say. So there you go. Let's continue talking real quick. Let's take a look at this one. A Philadelphia journalist and advocate is dead after being shot at his home on early Monday. Mark Mayfield tells you more.
Police say no weapons have been recovered and no arrests have been made in the death of 39-year-old Josh Kruger. Kruger most recently covered issues like LGBTQ rights, HIV, homelessness, and addiction in publications including the Philadelphia Citizen and the Philadelphia Inquirer. Mayor Jim Kenney said in a statement, the city is shocked and saddened by his death. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, thank you, Mark Mayfield, for the information on what is going on right there. Interesting stuff going on, no doubt about it. 4 people face charges in connection with the drug organization that allegedly distributed large amounts of fentanyl and cocaine in Maryland. Attorney General Anthony Brown says that dozens of guns were seized in the investigation.
1 Tech 9 assault pistol, 2 AK-style assault weapons, 3 AR-15 style rifles, including 2 ghost guns, and 3 handguns equipped with Glock switches, which turns a standard semi-automatic handgun into the equivalent of a machine gun.
Authorities also seized more than 8 kilos of fentanyl, 3 kilos of cocaine, more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition, body armor, and more than $308,000 in cash. According to the indictment, Ronald Rawless and Corey Frazier maintained multiple stashes in the house for drugs and guns in luxury apartments building in Baltimore City and Howard County. The other suspects allegedly took delivery of the drugs and repackaged them on the street, but they have not been taken into custody as of this writing. So there you go. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. No doubt about it whatsoever. Let's talk about some other things that are going on real quick. I want to talk about this real quick. The plant manager, The plant manager for General Motors Grand Rapids operations site in Wyoming says that they made a historic offer to the United Auto Workers Unions when their contract talks. Troy Comiskey says the GM offers included 20% raise and puts the company in a position for investment into the existing plants.
So we've had what we said is a record offer on the table now. Since July 18th, we've been negotiating in good faith. We put 5 offers on the table. So when we heard that they were expanding the strike on Friday, we were disappointed.
He says that they have negotiated in good faith. He says that in concerns the facility could get included to the UAW strike against all 3 automakers. UAW Local 167 President Willie Holmes says that he's already ready if they get notice. UAW 167 President also says that the strike in Wyoming will get notice as well.
The hope is that, yes, when this is all said and done, that General Motors as a corporation finally recognizes its workers and what we do and what we contribute to that company, the bottom line, basically.
So it'll be an interesting thing to see what happens going forward. No doubt about that. What do you think? I'm just saying, just think about it. Think about the grand scheme of things on how that will actually work. We can talk about it. We can go to up and down and all that kind of fun stuff, but it's going to be some interesting times for sure. So even though I normally don't talk about sports stuff, I have to tell you this because I think it's hilarious. The power of the dark side Sunday night football brings in over 20 million viewers as Taylor Swift makes a second appearance. Sunday night's game between the Jets and the Chiefs brought in less viewers than last week's Chiefs and Bears game. Both games featured appearances from Taylor Swift. The reported girlfriend of Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. Sunday night football brought in just over 20 million viewers compared to last week's Chiefs game that brought in over 24 million viewers. Swift was joined by Kelce's moms Donna, Blake Lively, and Ryan Reynolds. Sophie Turner, Hugh Jackman, and Sabrina Carpenter were also in the star-studded box. So there you go. What an interesting time we live in, for sure. Anyways, the family of a man charged in a deadly road rage shooting, leaving 2 dead, are pleading for charges to be dropped. The Denver City Council 25-year-old Stefan Long's brother Shannon doesn't deny that he fired the shot, but he said that he acted out of self-defense.
When you look at what happens, my brother was not at fault. He never exited his vehicle. He was just in the road and got approached and got attacked and defended himself, and I don't think self-defense is a crime.
Stefan Long was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the killing of the 2 brothers on the road of the incident on I-25 back in June. The 2 victims were brothers, 22-year-old Damon and 21-year-old Blake Lucas. Investigators say that the Long and Lucas brothers stopped their cars under the West 6th Avenue, and one of the brothers allegedly approaching the Long vehicle was shot. Police said the other brother then got out and jumped Long's car and fell and drove off and still firing. Long has no criminal history, but still being held behind bars in a $1 million bond. Alexander Londu with the Denver Justice Project went into Long's family on Monday night's council meeting to show the organization's support.
This is a young man who felt threatened. This is a young man who was being assaulted. And this is a young man who felt that self-defense was his only option to preserving his life and the life of his family.
It's going to be interesting to see what the outcome is from that. Let's do a couple more real quick. Take a listen to this one. A 9-year-old girl missing in New York Park has been found alive and her kidnapper captured after intense days long of search. Trey Thomas has more.
Governor Kathy Hochul confirmed Monday that Charlotte Sena was kidnapped and that her suspected abductor is in custody.
It's been a long 2 days, but tonight our prayers have been answered. We're overcome with relief and gratitude.
She noted that Sena appeared to be in good physical shape as she was rescued Monday evening. Hochul said the suspect left a note at Charlotte's parents' house demanding a ransom. Fingerprint analysis led to the man's mother's home, where a SWAT team found Charlotte in a cabinet inside a camper. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for that. Take a listen to this one. Amazon is cracking down on employees' badge swipes into office buildings. Brian Shook shares.
In an internal memo obtained by the Puget Sound Business Journal, the company notified employees that it can now produce employee-level badge reports. The company is closely monitoring employee movement to see who complies with the mandatory 3 days in-office policy. Since May, Amazon has mandated that employees come to the office at least 3 days a week. I'm Brian Shook.
There you go. The crackdown starts. Talking about bigger organization, Wells Fargo plans to lay off more than 500 employees in Richland County by next year. Take a listen to this.
That's according to a report from the employer program SC Works that says the bank will let go of 425 employees by the end of June of next year. Wells Fargo confirmed to WIS News 10 on Friday that it had already started layoffs. The reports show Wells Fargo is laying off the most employees out of all companies in South Carolina. I'm Tyreek Wynn.
Okay, thank you, Tyreek, for that. Take a listen to this real quick. A wrongful death lawsuit has been settled in a DUI crash that killed a bride on her wedding night on Folly Beach earlier this year. Take a listen to this.
The Crab Shack, the Folly Deli, and the Progressive Northern Insurance Company have agreed to settle the estate of Samantha Miller. She was killed when a golf cart carrying her along with her husband and 2 other family members was hit by a car allegedly driven by Jamie Lee Komorowski. An investigation found Komorowski's blood alcohol content to be 3 times over the legal limit after allegedly drinking at several bars that included those named in the lawsuit. Komorowski was indicted last month on 4 charges connected to the deadly crash. I'm Tyreek Wayne.
Okay, thank you, Tyree, for that. That makes you kind of ask all kinds of questions about the people named inside of that lawsuit besides the death that actually occurred to have a better understanding of it. That is for sure. Let's get into the main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
You know, regardless of how far I try to get away from it, no matter how far I try to say, hey, let's not talk about this subject, we have to talk about it. And it's not that, I mean, it's just, I have like this burning desire in my heart to talk about this, not sometimes, not ever so frequently, but I feel like I need to talk about this stuff all the time. And you know what I'm going to say here? Because I almost have that feeling that you do. I think you already know what I'm going to say here. And it's that whole thing of what's happening when nothing's happening. And why do I go back to this subject so frequently? Because there is this whole commotion that occurs inside of a workplace when an accident or an incident occurs that people are going, oh, we should have seen this whole layout to the land before the world came to an almost collapse. That's not the way that things work. The way that things work is that you have no signs that shows that this is going to happen before it happens, meaning like there's no flashing lights. There is no special sound effects that say, hey, you're about to have some major incident over here, so hey, be on the lookout. I mean, if there was, I don't think that most people would go through a serious injury, accident, incident, whatever the hell you want to call it, and be okay with it. I mean, I just don't think that would be the equation. So with that being said, think about this for a moment. I mean, I really want you to give this some serious consideration because this is what's going to be the difficult part. What's happening when nothing's happening is called normal work. Let's run through that again. What's happening when nothing's happening is normal work. The same things that go in and day out are the things that are occurring. Doesn't change anything. Doesn't make anything better, worse, or indifferent. Just makes things happen. And a lot of times we struggle with that. Because listen, as you go through the day, there's good things that happen. There's bad things that happen. There are things that are unrecoverable. There are things that are recoverable. And the funny part is your best worker, your best employee, your best team member are able to actually manage these situations and go through the inner workings and understand exactly how your system ebbs and flows. And some people don't love that. Some people do love that. And the funny part is because the mastery of some of these systems, some of the people will be able to do certain things that others cannot. Some people will be able to do things that others kind of go, okay, this can be done, this can't be done, and so on. I'm being serious about this. So, why do we have this mindset that you're going to know all these weird things before something happens? Because even going through the system and looking at the everyday work of things can still be managed, can still be looked at, can still be going around and going, okay, this is how we determined work is going to go. This is how work is actually going. Black line, blue line. But we can still go around and talk about it. We can still go around and change the way the world goes. Think about it for a moment. Think about how this whole thing goes and how this whole thing should move forward. I want you to think about this. What's happening when nothing's happening is known as normal work. Easy concept, difficult to understand. It's kind of a weird one on how that works out from time to time. It really is. I would love to say that it's more difficult than what it is, but I'd be lying to you.
Whoops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobile.io. That's mobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and were not 100% sure on what they meant. Things as mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
Tearing the ass out of you like gas station sushi.
Even in the trench, I never stress. Coming out like the best, no sweat. Get ready for it, ready or not. Here it comes now, coming in hot. Unlock, unlock, unlock. Get ready for it, ready or not. Here it comes now, coming in hot.
on lock. Get ready for it. That's for sure. That's Kip Parks. This is the Rated R Safety Show. Don't worry about that. That's where you're still hanging out at. You know, we're doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. There is no doubt on this lovely Tuesday. Yeah, it is 45 minutes past the top of the hour. There is nothing going on besides this music. Anyways, you can give a little downloady action if you wanted to get OK Parks. You know, you can do that on YouTube Music. You can do that on Spotify, and you can even do it on the Apple Music. The things that the kids say. I don't think I'm in that demo yet where I can say, the things that the kids say, but hey, whatever. I'm sure my daughter would tell me otherwise. So there you go, K Parks. Okay, so let's get back into it. Thanks, K Parks, for allowing us to play this. Yes, we did 2 days back to back of some K Parks there, just in case if you're doing the mathasoid. Yeah, doing the mathasoid, keeping up with the math of what the hell we have going on. Anyway, so let's do this real quick because there's always some exciting stuff happening inside of the world here. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime. No, seriously, this is the most important thing, and I'm not overhyping this thing. I'm telling you the truth. This is about me telling you about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. Yep, no matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. To Write Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. Listen, I'm going to tell you, there are times that people are struggling. There are times that people are going through something that they don't think there is an out. There is nothing that can change what the hell is going on inside of their world. I got news for you. There is a way. There's resources. There are things that are available out there. If you go right now to Write Love on Her Arms, click on the section that says Find Help. You can actually get all kinds of, there's a whole plethora of information, anything related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support. Resources are available there. Let's see, bipolar, LGBTQIA assistance, veteran assistance, you name it, they have it there. To Write Love on Her Arms, TWLOHA.com. Click on the section that says Find Help. You are never a burden. Listen, I want you to know that because people go into that mindset. We need to talk about it. This resource is available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. To Write Love on Her Arms. TWLOHA.com. Listen, before you make your next move, that's the place to go. No doubt about that. We are talking, that is for sure. Anyways, let's get some information of things that are going on inside of the world. So when your destination is the second floor, do you want to wait for the elevator or do you simply want to take the stairs? If you pick door number 2, your heart may be healthier because of it. Not only that, but stair climbing might be even better than you walking thousands of steps a day. Tulane University researchers found that taking at least 50 steps up each day could slash your risk of heart disease, including coronary artery disease or stroke, by 20%. And it could even be better for you after pounding the pavement with a step counter, because stair climbing requires that you use more muscles, more balance, and more motor skills, according to the researchers, plus a lot of activity from cardiovascular system, and that is why people often find themselves out of breath while climbing stairs. Dudes, I get the out of breath taking the elevator, so I can kind of understand either or. It sounds great, except the part of having to climb the 50 steps per day. But, all joking aside there, I remember being at a very well-known organization that has some of the best buys in the electronic industry. And they had a rule that if you were going up any floor, I think it was up to floor number 3, you had to take the stairs. Could not take the elevator unless unless it was a disability thing. But if you were going downstairs or downward floors, you were taking the steps because it was easier to go downstairs than upstairs. So yeah, rule sets, you gotta love them as they are becoming interesting. Anyways, take a listen to this. Now that electric power cars are becoming more commonplace, get to start seeing transport trucks without traditional plume and smoke exhaust belching from the smokestack. Recent development battery power technology have resulted in some battery electric big rigs doubling their range of charging. The nonprofit North American Council on Freight Efficiency conducted a real-world test on 21 battery electric big rigs, among others. Ford, Tesla, Volvo, and General Motors. They found that the innovation has been lightning fast recently and determined that the future of battery electric commercial truck bright. For those who live in urban areas, the idea of silent emissions free freight trucks passing through the town is a sweet concept. As you may know, a rig building up speed extremely smog-filled, slow, and noisy. Not only that, but electric trucks are able to use regenerative braking, a system that recharges the battery pack by utilizing braking force for heavy vehicles, meaning that some recover a quarter of the charge in the course of braking during a 13-hour haul day. All the new battery tech and all this, just 50-50 chance of that my car will start in a cold morning. So I don't know, how great that is. And will there even allow these things to deliver to gas stations? I mean, I'm just trying to figure this out, because if you're battery packed, can you actually deliver to one of to a gas station? One wants to know.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Hey, listen, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just sharing the message with you. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we do this one? Why don't we get into the Motivation Minute stuff? Because I always think it's important to talk about, do, and so on. So let's bring some John Smalls into our life about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Neil. C.S. Lewis said, "One of the most cowardly things ordinary people do is to shut their eyes to the facts." Sadly, with social media and the internet in general, facts are a funny thing. Depending on where these facts come from, they may be more of an opinion than a fact. Even the fact checkers on social media have been accused of blocking things that were later found out to be true. The news has shared facts that were later debunked. This is not a right versus left thing. This is a right versus wrong thing. We're in such a rush to get the story out, we don't even have the details when the story breaks. I think the media needs to take a moment to know the story is true before sharing it. But maybe that's just me. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
A pair of scientists whose work led to life-saving COVID-19 vaccines has been awarded the Nobel Prize.
Professors Kathleen Carrico and Drew Weissman were praised by the Nobel Committee for contributing to an unprecedented rate of vaccine development during the pandemic. Their work was instrumental in helping develop new methods to immunize people against COVID-19. Both the Pfizer-BioNTech and Moderna vaccines were based on the technology and have now been given to billions of people around the world. John Beaver reporting.
The Justice Department is suing the state of Colorado for placing low-income disabled residents in nursing homes. The suit claims Colorado has failed to live up to federal guidelines directing states to pay for support services that allow residents with disabilities to remain living at home. Health Update, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Sarah Lee, for the information on what is going on. No doubt about that, because those things are always importante as we are hanging out. So take a look around real quick. Let's talk about, let's see. I think I want to talk about, did you know there are plenty of health claims about humming, including reducing stress, helping you breathe more easily, and relieving sinus congestion, lowering blood pressure, and providing benefits of your heart and digestive system. So are those claims true? Experts say that most research is needed, but they do believe that humming not only feels good, but it improves your mood, distracts us from boring tasks, and even can be used for a spiritual practice. So I guess take it for what it's worth. on what you want to do with that. That is for sure. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date as I take a look around. Let's see. East and West Germany celebrate Unity Day. It's celebrated by the joining of the two countries more than a year after the fall of the wall. The Soviet Union would remain for another year, but the weak legs that would soon collapse. The first president of the United Germany was Helmut Kohl. That happened back in 1990. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, let's talk about that. ASAP Rocky rapper, well, he turns 35. Alicia Villacurn turns 35. Ashley Simpson, she turns 39 today. Jessica Parker Kennedy turns 39 as well. Teresa Thompson, 40. Danny O'Donnell turns 43. Sean William Scott, 47. Nev Campbell. Stifler turns 47. Holy monkeys. Nev Campbell turns 50. Lena Headey turns 50. Kevin Richardson, 52. Gwen Stefani, 54. Tommy Lee, 61. Al Sharpton, 69. Chubby Checker turns 82 today. And Glenn Hall turns 92. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, I always have some of those for you. No doubt about that. It's National Boyfriend Day. National Techies Day, Virus Appreciation Day. I don't think anybody wants to celebrate that damn thing. And National Fruit at Work Day. I don't even know what that means, but I'm sure it means something interesting for some. No doubt about that. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to RadioBig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me as we will talk about the world of music and entertainment. If you hang out on Safety FM, Sheldon Primus will talk to you about the world of safety consulting. So it's up to you on what you want to do, no doubt about that. So let's talk about some random jokes for today because I want to give you some. If you do need a random joke, try this one. I'm at the point where I do not want to be involved in office drama, but I do know about 150% of the info of what happened. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What mythical creature do you wish actually existed? It has to be somewhere between dragon and unicorns. I just would imagine that would be the key. What else? Question for the water cooler. This is something usually most associate with women, but recent searches actually show that it applies more often to men. What is it? Fear of bugs. So there you go. Don't fear the Reaper. So there you go. That's going to sum up our time together. Like I said, I'll be going over there. Sheldon will be hanging out here. You have choices that you get to make. That's the great part about this whole thing. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen. You are the most important part of Safety FM and Radio Big because it does not make a lot of sense to do what we do around here. Definitely without you. Why would we do it? We just wouldn't do it. So that's it. So anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
No sweat. Get ready for it, ready or not. Here it comes now, coming in hot. Get ready for it, ready or not. Now coming in hot. Cook up, explode, Fuego, take off, tick tock, two blow, how far, way up, make it look easy, effortless, even in the trench I